What it do, YouTube? Today's video, I want to chime in with a quick impromptu video. In today's video, I want to get some spiritual updates, but I also want to talk about artificial intelligence, and I also want to tie artificial intelligence into COVID. So it's crazy because with all the information that has come out in the last 5 years, because COVID started 2020 and it's 2025 right now. So within these last 5 years, so much information has been released that if you smart and you spiritual, and you got eyes to see and ears to hear, you can obviously see and hear that a lot of shit is not right. But a lot of stuff that was happening in 2020 is starting to make sense in 2025, right? You see what I'm saying? And the stuff that I'm talking about is that, remember back in like 2019, 2020, when all the 5G towers was going up and that shit was going somewhat viral, about how people just getting sick and dying because those 5G towers next to their house, next to their offices and shit like that, where they work at and stuff like that. And the signals and stuff, or the ELF waves, extremely low frequencies, they shooting that radiation at people and like basically giving them cancer and all these different type of ailments overnight. A lot of people couldn't figure it out, and then boom, next COVID come out. All these people start getting sick from COVID, quote unquote, which it is a real thing, but it wasn't really starting to happen until the 5G towers started going up. So it's like some type of nanotechnology that was in the COVID virus was able to connect to the nanotechnology coming from the 5G towers to create this, this ailment of sickness, right? But notice that, through all that, when it was a lockdown, it was so much building going on. And a lot of people, once the lockdown got lifted, a lot of people came outside. The earth got a chance to heal for those 2 weeks when everybody was on lockdown and shit. The earth was damn near more pure and cleaner just in those 2 weeks from that lockdown. And next thing you know, it's 5G towers everywhere. You see what I'm saying? The next thing you know, there's so many people that went out of business and stuff like that, and a lot of people couldn't figure it out, like what's going on. You see what I'm saying? And now it all starts to make sense. A lot of these people was going out of businesses and stuff and losing their businesses and losing their riches overnight is because the mass implementation of artificial intelligence. That's the real excuse behind COVID. You see what I'm saying? COVID was an excuse to implement artificial intelligence on a massive scale. Because when you think about it, a lot of these AI models, these large language models, they were not out like that around that time. Like, don't get me wrong, you still had Siri, motherfuckers had Alexa and stuff like that. You know, the little AI and shit like that. And then what else do we have? See, you heard, you know, like ChatGPT, you heard about stuff like that. And then next thing you know, a lot of them just started popping up. Grok, Clyde, you know what I'm saying? Anthropic, which is, I think it's the same thing as Clyde, I'm not sure. Gemini, you got all these different things that's coming up. You know what I'm saying? Now they got one called DeepSeek, you know, so it's just a whole bunch of different large language models that's popping up. This is all planned. This is all planned. This is all death by design. Because if you think about it, the government could just go send those people out with fucking pink slips, putting it on people's businesses and shit and houses, because you know a lot of people operate their business out their house now. But that's another good point too. I'm gonna tap into that too, how that ties into artificial intelligence too. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, like all this stuff. See, I forgot what I was finna say, but basically it's like this, right? Look at it like this. So, yeah, so the government couldn't just go out, put pink slips on people, businesses and shit. They knew that wasn't gonna work. You see what I'm saying? Motherfuckers, they just finna close their business, especially they've been operating for 10, 20 years, even 5 years, and they making some type of revenue. They're not just finna close their business, so they had to come up with COVID. Make motherfuckers shut their shit down. You know what I'm saying? Get them niggas out the way, you see? Because if not, the rollout of AI wouldn't have been as smooth as it was. So that's what's going on right now. And just like how COVID was, it was a mass shock. A lot of people lost their job. A lot of people lost their life and all that shit. That is finna happen again. But it's not about to be COVID. It's finna be just AI. AI is about to literally take over everything. And also, I could tie that back into remote jobs, like how I was saying. A lot of people operate their business out their house, meaning that they work remotely. You see what I'm saying? So they work for themselves, or they can work for another company, but they work from home, and they work remotely, meaning that they on their computer or their phone all day. You see what I'm saying? They on their computer and their phone all day. You see? And that's basically artificial intelligence. That's where this shit is moving to, like physical jobs and labor and shit like that. They finna figure out how AI can change all that, where you can basically work smarter and not harder. Watch. You finna see the same thing I told you, transportation industry. That's why they tested it out with Waymo. And then they gonna implement that shit in a lot of driving jobs. You gonna see, watch soon, it's gonna come out. You gonna see the first AI Uber Eats model, DoorDash models, meaning that these cars are gonna be autonomous. They're gonna be autonomous, but they're gonna be able to basically be compatible with DoorDash. So, for example, you know how there's so many human dashers and shit like that? Well, they're gonna start putting out the fucking Waymo cars that's gonna be dashing. So it's not even gonna be a person that's gonna pull up. It's just gonna be a fucking robot. Nobody in there driving. Your food gonna be in the back seat. You just get it, press the button on your phone, and that motherfucker gonna drive off. I'm telling you, that's where technology's heading. A lot of people can't see it because shit, they not on the way of the future, or they just probably don't want to see it. It don't really matter what they want to see, but it's happening. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, just get ready. A lot of people, I'm telling you, they think it's sweet. They think it's sweet. They think it's sweet. The government always do this shit. There's always some type of tragic event every 5 to like 7 years. I'm telling you, this time it's gonna be artificial intelligence. A lot of people finna get mad, go on strike, all this type of shit because they losing their job to robots. But this has been happening, right? Wake the damn up. No videos coming soon. Fuck Satan. Fuck all his minions. Gang, bitch. You know how I'm rocking. Gonna get stepped on for Jesus Christ.